Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to explore a concept that might just reshape how you see, well, everything. This is volume 1 of our deep dive, and it's all about balance. Now, to be really clear, we're not talking about balance as just a nice idea or some kind of metaphor. We're treating it as a foundational, physical law of the universe. So let's get into it. All right, so let's just jump right in with the question that really changes everything. What if consciousness, the fact that you're here right now, listening, thinking, feeling, what if it isn't some random biological accident? What if it's actually a fundamental, predictable feature of reality itself? To even begin to answer that, we need to compare two very different ways of looking at the world. On the one hand, we have modern physics. It's brilliant, obviously, but it has some problems. It's incomplete, it's fragmented, and frankly, it really struggles to explain the role of the observer. That's you, the person doing the measuring. But on the other hand, we're introducing a new model we're calling Ma'at physics. This model is designed from the ground up to be unified, to be consciousness inclusive, and to be grounded in meaning. So, where do we start? Well, we start by looking at why a new model is even necessary in the first place. Let's begin by examining the cracks in the foundations of physics as we know it.
And, these aren't just minor little puzzles happening on the fringes of science. The observer problem, the huge gap between the quantum world and the cosmic scale, the total mystery of dark matter and dark energy. These are deep structural cracks. They tell us that our current map of reality isn't just missing a few details. It's missing a core component. It has no place for meaning itself.
Okay, so if the old rules are broken, what comes next? That brings us to our second section, and it's the heart of our work today, rewriting the rules. And this, right here, this is the core shift. Map physics isn't about patching the old model. It's about rebuilding it with a new foundation, a new axiom. The observer, you, is a fundamental causal variable. Your awareness isn't just a passenger along for the ride. It has a physical function. This moves us from a universe that just happens to us to a universe that happens with us. So what's the mission here? Well, the mandate is both simple and profound. Give the soul its mathematical voice. The goal isn't to get rid of scientific rigor, not at all. It's to expand it, to build a formal, testable system for concepts that, up until now, have only really existed in the realms of philosophy or spirituality. And one of the most powerful and maybe a little mind-bending new rules is this no negative universe principle. It suggests that reality doesn't actually subtract or destroy things. Instead, what we perceive as negative is simply a complementary force, a different polarity. Think about what that means for a second. It changes everything about how we might see conflict, loss, or debt. It suggests that reality only transforms. It never truly erases. So, how is an observer actually built in this model? It's composed of 4 primary internal drives, or what we call currents. As you can see in the table, we have big S, which is the force for structure and order. Then there's big B, the drive for expansion and creating new possibilities. And they have their counterparts. Little s, our innate curiosity, and little b, our impulse for an internal harmony. Think of these 4 forces as the fundamental building blocks of you. Okay, so we have the components, but how do they actually interact? How do they move? This brings us to the dynamic heart of the theory, the engine that drives reality itself. At its very core, you can think of reality as this incredible cosmic dance. It's a constant interplay between 2 primary forces. It's like the universe is breathing. Structure, or big S, provides the containment and order. That's the inhale. And expansion, or big B, introduces novelty and possibility. That's the exhale. All of life, all of consciousness happens within that rhythm. Now, this dance isn't just a poetic idea. And hey, don't worry, you don't need to be a mathematician to get what's happening here. All these equations are showing is that this relationship is governed by precise, predictable rules. Structure creates the stability needed for new expansion to occur, and expansion pushes the boundaries, which then creates new structures. They are fundamentally coupled. You simply cannot have one without the other. In fact, we can simplify all that beautiful math into a 3-step process called the Ma'at limit cycle. It's pretty straightforward. First, expansion generates something new. Second, regulation or structure contains and organizes it. And third, if those two are in balance, the system achieves a stable orbit. That right there, that dynamic, living balance is the signature of health.
And this is where the theory becomes incredibly practical. A healthy, conscious system, whether that's a person, a relationship, or an ecosystem, maintains that stable orbit we just talked about. But when that balance is lost, say too much rigid structure or way too much chaotic expansion, the system spirals out of control. This is the physics behind what we personally experience as burnout, collapse, or just feeling stuck.
Okay, so if this is the engine that powers consciousness on a personal scale, what happens when we zoom all the way out? What does this mean for the cosmos? This is where we get to the truly incredible implications of a universe with inherent meaning. Let's start with dark matter. In this model, it's not some mysterious missing particle we have to hunt for. It's simply unrendered coherence. It's the structural potential of the universe that hasn't been collapsed into physical form yet. You can think of it as the blueprint of reality, and its gravity is the pull of what's possible. And dark energy, of course, is its perfect counterpart. It is the creative pressure of the B field. It's the universe's innate drive for novelty, for growth, for becoming. It's the force that prevents reality from just collapsing into a static, frozen state, ensuring that the dance of creation can go on. And all of this, it leads to a truly staggering conclusion. The mathematics of this model shows that empathy, that connection between conscious systems, is literally the most energy-efficient strategy for survival. Just think about that for a moment. Compassion isn't just a moral choice. It's a fundamental law of physics. It's how the universe itself stays coherent. Finally, and this is probably the most important part, none of this matters if it's just a nice story. It has to be grounded in principles we can actually test. And that brings us to our final section. This is science you can live. Here's the bottom line. For any theory to be considered real science, it can't just be a belief system you have to take on faith. It must be empirically vulnerable. All that means is that it has to make specific predictions that could, at least in principle, be proven wrong. And Mott physics offers two crystal clear ways it could be falsified. First, if we could demonstrate that increasing empathy and connection in a system actually makes it less efficient and creates more waste, then the theory is false. Second, if we find that observing the world with intention and meaning produces the exact same results as just random chance, the theory is also false. This is a science that's asking to be tested, not just a philosophy to be admired. So, let's bring it all together. We've journeyed from the cracks in modern physics to a new set of rules, to the engine of reality, and all the way out to the shape of the cosmos. And it all converges on this single, powerful point. Balance isn't just a state of mind. It is the literal, physical structure of awakening. So, this volume has given us the blueprint. It's defined the foundational law of reality. But, a blueprint isn't the same as a living, breathing system, which leaves us with the big question that launches our next deep dive. Now that we have the blueprint, how do we turn on the engine?